the awkward and slightly embarrassing question. There is, of course, an enormous internet superpower in your corner of the world. Is there any opportunity at all for MENA startups to work with Israeli startups, or is the politics of the region just simply too much of an impenetrable wall?
Actually, I researched that question. It's a great question. I went to Israel in December. And thanks to Usal, by the way, because he had built some relationships there and he introduced me to some folks over there. And it was my first trip. I hadn't been before. I didn't have an opportunity to do it before, so I was quite excited about it. And so I guess there were two reasons for my trip. One was to reconnect with a whole bunch of people that I knew from my past life working in the mobile industry, and the mobile industry is very strong there as well. But also to connect with a bunch of people there who have set up some initiatives, and those were the people that Usal connected me with, designed to fund and build a number of startups that would actually tackle the regional market. It sounds very counterintuitive to do this out of Israel, but there are a lot of Arab Israelis also, and some of them, are very bright. They would go to Technion, the best universities and whatnot, and are building their own businesses. So a bunch of funds have been set up there to take advantage of that. I'm no expert in the politics of the region. I'll leave this to my fellow panelists. So I can't comment about that. But one thing I did sense is that talking to my Lebanese friends, talking to my let's say MENA friends after this trip, was they were like, look, we're excited about what goes on there, but we can't really be seen to get involved because it's just not possible, basically. Mm-hmm. On the Israeli side, what I heard is that because the first question I asked the guys, so Pitango, which is a very well-known VC fund, basically, has set up a new fund to back Arab Israeli entrepreneurs. And I asked them, so I said, well, hold on, so you're going to build these builds. So they built one business in the health space, and it's actually growing like crazy. It's basically like a WebMD for the Arab world. And they're about to launch a bunch of other similar businesses. They're launching one in the weight loss space, again, for a pan-Arab audience. I also met a really, really bright entrepreneur from the Haifa area who's at the same time a professor at Technion, or assistant professor at Technion, who set up a business called DatuMate, which I believe has absolutely global potential. It's basically simplifying the work of surveyors, real estate surveyors, like making their work 20 times easier. So it's quite amazing. So I saw a lot of interesting things, but my question to them was, hold on, so you're going to set up this online health business for the Arab world, but then what happens when people find out that it's from there? So I believe that for that business, one of their strategies was to in fact invite investors from the region who may want to cross that divide and get involved. Again, I can't comment on that because I'm a foreigner to all of that, and nor do I want to get involved in the politics. But I found it quite interesting.
Any other response?
It's a very loaded question.
Has a nice perspective
I
on it.
think that undoubtedly Israel is an amazing model of building a thriving VC and entrepreneurial community. I've personally spoken about the experience of Israel in building this at a number of conferences in the Middle East, which definitely raised some eyebrows. But even though there is an animosity between the two parties, that doesn't mean one cannot learn from the other. Unfortunately, there are deep animosities and stigma associated with the subject. So that is a serious barrier to cooperation. I would say even these guys, to take the example further, these guys are setting up this business. What passports do they have? Are they Israeli passports? They're Israeli passports. They are going to try to sell ads. If they want to sell ads for this business, most of the ad dollars for Arab companies are coming out of Dubai. To fly to Dubai on an Israeli passport is impossible.
So they hire Jordanians for that.
So they hire Jordanians for that.
Yeah, so they set up an office in Amman. That's how they're doing it.
Right. So there's a, and not, we're not talking about the stigma now that may be associated with these people. We're talking about actual real logistical issues, right? And so there are challenges. I think that there's a lot that we could learn and benefit from such synergy. And you're not the first, I mean, the first time I set up our event, people immediately asked me, hey, so are you bringing some people from Israel? And my event's based in Beirut, that is impossible. They cannot come here, right? Whether or not I want them is immaterial. I hope that was diplomatic enough.